There's a consequence that comes with building your intuition and listening to your spirit that very few people like to speak on, especially when you are spiritually aware or you are in tune with the higher frequencies of life. It seems that life, the spirit, whatever else is out there, is always trying to get your attention. And in getting your attention, there are disruptions and obstacles that come simply because you have the ability to hear, to see, to feel, or to predict, prophesy an outcome of a future moment. And as a result, it may be difficult for you to find a certain level of balance in your life, right? Work life balance, spiritual and practical balance, relationship balance, the ability to stay sane in one world and still be a student in the other. The downside to building your intuition and or hearing from God, hearing from the spirit is that it will take you on a journey that you did not ask for, but you would not be able to survive without traveling it. Your extreme insight can be the onset of a near death experience. It could be generational, wherein you are, the descendant of a lineage who has this gift that has been cultivated time after season after era of humanity, right? And now this just happens to be the effect of uh, the apex of the spirit and the human integrating, and your sensitivities are heightening. It's not your fault that the balance of your life is imbalanced, right? It's not your fault that the integration that you are looking to have is disrupted. It is what it's supposed to be when a system is put in place to deny you full access to your higher level. We live in a society that says that modern living is what is foremost. However, it is counterintuitive to those that hear to the infinite spirit or hear from the infinite spirit. So, what happens in the infinite supremacy of the creator, of the moral arc of justice, of the antiquity of time? What happens is when someone like you has a gift of being a messenger or a receiver of the intimacy of the spirit, and there needs to be a message that is addressed. There needs to be refinement in the culture. There needs to be a clearing in the bloodline. What happens is when you, the one who is trying to live your life, trying to lead a life, right? And create a legacy. When you decide, I just want to be quiet about this, I just want to keep this on the hush. I don't really, no one has to even know I have this gift. I don't really want to tell people that I can see other things around them, that I can hear other elements of their lives, past, present, future. Like, I don't. But when you are needed and when you are necessary because of the configuration of your gift, then spirit in its totality will cause you to have a collapse, will cause you to be in seclusion, will call you to a space called isolation, whether you pick up the call or not. the downside to having a gift like you have, or to building your gift and your intuition, right? Because any human can build intuition. We all have intuition. We have instinct. We have primal instinct that connects us to the earth, that connects us to the frequency, that connects us to the spirit. Some of us are just born with the ability to have it already on. We all have it, but it's up to you to decide if you want it amplified, right? And so what happens is when you are in a state of isolation, seclusion, collapse, a cocoon, a place of darkness, wilderness, or even just a void, right? You are in a space where you have no knowledge, you have no roadmap, you have nothing but relying on the inner voice. What happens is sometimes spirit will breadcrumb you your future. Sometimes spirit will put you through a humiliation ritual. Sometimes it will appear as though spirit itself is gaslighting you and bypassing you. And all you did was have the ability to hear, to see, to feel. And sometimes I've learned the cunningness of the creativity and benevolence of the spirit that can also traverse in the darker realms, right? Because it all interplays. Sometimes spirit will give you a roadmap, give you a vision of a final destination, and go so far as to tell you which path to take, which road to take, okay? Open up certain pathways, close up certain pathways so you can only take one way, just for you to take that path, and then spirit close it up. Spirit will deny you entry. Spirit will say, what you doing here? Turn around. Spirit will say, there are rules to this GPS. Mm? There are rules for this roadmap. What are the rules? You got to pray sometimes. You got to seek. You got to fast sometimes. You have to disconnect. You have to unplug. You have to detach. Mm? You have to hang up certain relationships that you wanted, those that you thought were supportive of what you were doing and where you were going. Sometimes you have to unlearn, to relearn, to unlearn what you just learned. Sometimes you got to cry. Sometimes you got to go without. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. Sometimes you have to sell. Sometimes you have to look stupid. Sometimes you have to be dumb. Sometimes you have to be ignorant. These are the pillars of this GPS that says, but follow me. I'm taking you somewhere. There's a downside to growth and elevation. This is not sexy. This is not attractive. This is not something that you want to share with everyone. Everyone looks for an outcome of saying how they've changed and the transformation that acquired, through this caterpillar into butterfly phase. Not a lot of people survive this because of the emotional and mental weight of changing and transforming. Some people lose their sanity. Some people cannot take the weight and they lose their life. Like, transformation is heavy. But at the end of it, to say that you followed spirit, that you followed the voice within, that you became like the boy Santiago from The Alchemist, and you went on a journey to your highest and best self. Maybe obedience is not just about you doing, but it's about hearing. It's about relationship with the spirit. And I want to encourage you that if you are at the tail end of your transformation, to keep going. Because the gift isn't in just you saying, I survived. The gift is